this video covers the important questions associated with organic chemistry for boards. So organic chemistry में most importantly focus on the named reactions. Do all the named reaction, practice them properly. 2 to 3 named reaction question would definitely be there in the paper. So remember to do all the named reaction. I'll tell you which are the named reaction chapter by chapter. So let's start. So in organic chemistry, first one is halogen derivatives, which covers haloalkanes, haloarenes. The first part which is important is classification of halogen compounds. So there were 2 types of classification, the CsP3 halides and CsP2 halides. If you remember, in CsP3 mein 3 halides are there: benzylic, allylic, alkylic. Here we have vinylic and arylic or aryl halides. So overall the type of halides or any type of organic compound can be just remembered as VA. That is benzylic, allylic, alkylic, vinylic and arylic. So that is the part about classification. So in this you have examples, nomenclature, all the things covered. Next, preparation of alkyl halides. The alkyl halides preparation were mainly summarized as HAQ. H refers to the halide exchange. Halide exchange, when there are 2 named reaction, one is Finkelstein reaction to prepare alkyl iodide and other is Swartz reaction to prepare alkyl fluoride from alkyl chlorides or bromides. So Finkelstein and Swartz reaction in the halide exchange. The AQ refers to alcohols, alkanes and alkenes, meaning halides could be prepared from alcohols, alkanes and alkenes. Alcohol के through there were many reactions. The first was ROH plus HX giving you RX, a nucleophilic substitution reaction in which there were 3 subcases of HI, HBr and HCl. And HCl, anhydrous ZnCl2, was called Lucas reagent, and this was a Lucas test for determination of type of alcohols. Okay. Now alkanes में we have halogenation of alkanes to prepare alkyl halides, and alkenes में hydrohalogenation of alkenes to prepare alkyl halides. In this there is important Markovnikov's and anti-Markovnikov's rule, and anti-Markovnikov's, remember, is applicable only for HBr. So that covers the preparation method of alkyl halide with 2 named reactions in halide exchange, Finkelstein and the Swartz reaction. Along with that, Lucas test, also called Crew's process, is important. Reactions of alkyl halide. Now alkyl halides are mainly undergoing the nucleophilic substitution reaction. So in this, the nucleophilic substitution reaction mechanism, there were 2 main important mechanisms, SN1 and SN2. These 2 things are very important, and many a times they have expected a short note on SN1 and SN2 mechanism. Now in this 2 mechanisms, 4 parts are important. First, you write the reaction explaining the SN1 or SN2. So let's say I take SN1 ka question as an example. So the reaction was the tertiary butyl halide undergoing the nucleophilic substitution with OH minus as nucleophile. Second, you explain the kinetic reaction, meaning kinetics of the SN1 states that the rate would be dependent only on one molecule, that is the substrate alkyl halide. Thirdly, you explain the mechanism with the 3-dimensional arrangement of the halides. So it was a 2-step mechanism with the carbocation as an intermediate. And the 4th point is EPD, that is energy profile diagram. So every part needs to be explained properly and the reaction need to be drawn properly. And then coming to haloarenes. Haloarenes में you have the preparation method, and there were many named reaction under this category. The main important preparation method of haloarenes is from aniline and or you can say by diazonium compounds. So aniline is first diazotized to prepare the benzene diazonium chloride, and through that different aryl halides could be prepared. The first 2 reactions, Sandmeyer's and Getterman, are for the chlorides or bromides. Then we have the Ki reaction to prepare the aryl iodide, which is not a named reaction. The fourth one is to prepare alkyl fluoride, which is Bars-Schiemann reaction. So again a named reaction over here. So through the aniline, diazonium chloride is prepared, and diazonium के through these four reactions are important. ठीक है. Halogens could also be prepared via toluene. Now toluene का two major parts were there. One is chlorination in AlCl3 and other is chlorination in the presence of UV. Now in the presence of AlCl3, it attacks the ring and it prepares the haloarine. But in presence of UV, it attacks the side chain, meaning the methyl group, to prepare the benzyl chloride, which is not an aryl halide, it's an alkyl halide. So the difference is very, very important. I repeat, toluene chlorination in AlCl3 gives you a haloarine. Toluene ka chlorination in presence of UV gives you an alkyl halide, more specifically benzyl halide. ठीक है. Next, when I talk about the reactions of haloarenes का reaction are again mainly the nucleophilic substitution reaction. But here there is a very important concept that haloarenes and haloalkanes में, which is more reactive. The answer is obviously haloalkanes are more reactive, या haloarenes are less reactive. And there are three important reasons which are to be mentioned for explaining the difference in the reactivity. So the three important points I'll just tell you. One is resonance stabilization of the aryl halide. Second is the sp2 hybridization of the carbon of benzene ring of aryl halide. And third is the polarity of the CX bond. So on these 3 points we need to explain why haloarenes are less reactive. And to make it more reactive, EWG like nitro could be attached at ortho or para position. This can be asked as a very important MCQ. Then lastly, we have uses of the important halogen compounds. In that mainly you should do DDT, which is dichloro diphenyl trichloroethane, and it is used as an insecticide. So structure also is very important, and the freon, which is difluoromethane, that is important. Coming to APE, which is alcohols, phenols and ethers. So in the starting there is a classification. Now you do all the 3 compounds parallelly, it will be easier for you to complete the whole chapter. So you do the classification of alcohol. Now the classification of alcohol, if you talk about monohydric, was exactly similar to the halogen compounds, and that is also to be remembered as BAVA, meaning there it will be sp3OH and sp2OH. The only difference is halide replaced by OH. But apart from the monohydric alcohols, we have dihydric, trihydric and polyhydric. Dihydric mein you have vicinal as well as geminal. Vicinals are those in which the OH are on the adjacent and they are stable. Geminals are those in which the OH are on the same carbon, but because they are on the same carbon, the H2O removal is easier and it immediately removes the water to form the aldehyde or ketone. So geminal diol जैसा कुछ exist नहीं करता है, because the corresponding compound or the product would be an aldehyde or a ketone, a carbonyl compound, which is again a preparation method for aldehyde or ketone. ठीक है. Next, in the alcohols, third category is trihydric alcohol. Again, vicinals are stable, geminals are unstable, because 3OH now when removes the water, it forms a corresponding carboxylic acid. And polyhydric one, there is one example, sorbitol, which is a hexahydric alcohol. Now this can be asked as MCQ. Sorbitol is a dash alcohol. It's a hexahydric alcohol, meaning there are 6 OH on the adjacent carbon atoms. And the structure is CH2OH, CHOH repeated 4 times and CH2OH. Next, phenols में again the classification is monohydric phenol, dihydric phenol and trihydric phenol. In dihydric phenol, we have the important 3 variations, because 3 isomeric phenols are possible. The ortho is called catechol, the meta is called resorcinol, and the para is called quinol. So it can be remembered as CRQ, catechol, resorcinol and quinol. Clear? And in the trihydric alcohol, you have 2 important examples, meaning again 3 possible isomers are there, 1,2,3 benzene triol, or it can be 1,2,4 or it can be 1,3,5. and there were few names which are to be remembered as fluoroglucinol. Then coming to ethers, ethers were classified on the basis of alkyl groups. If they are same, we call it as symmetrical or simple ethers. If they are different, it is unsymmetrical or mixed, or we can say complex ether. And accordingly, nomenclature is important for the ethers, which should not be skipped. So that covers the classification part. Now preparation. Alcohols में there are a lot of preparation methods, but the first preparation is from the alkyl halide. So the reaction of alkyl halide to convert an alcohol is itself the preparation method of alcohol over here. Apart from that, there are important reactions associated with preparation of alcohol. In that, the most important is hydration of alkene. So similar to hydrohalogenation, when we add water across a double bond, it forms an alcohol. But again, here secondary and tertiary alcohols can be prepared, but for a primary alcohol, you need to have NTMR. But as I said, NTMR cannot be applied for any other reagent except HBr. So if I want to prepare a primary alcohol, the reaction which was applied was HBO, Hydroboration Oxidation. Now this is one of the very important reaction which I would suggest to do, not to skip. Hydroboration oxidation. In this, the alkene was first added with diborane and then it was oxidized with the peroxide in the presence of OH minus to form a primary alcohol. An important difference was hydration में propene gets converted to propane 2-ol, HBO में propene gets converted to propane 1-ol. Propene to propane 2-ol, it is hydration. Propene to propane 1-ol, it is HPO. That's a very important reaction here. Then there was reduction of the carbonyl compounds. In fact, if you remember, I have given a mnemonic which can be remembered for the preparation of alcohols. So preparation methods of alcohol के लिए you can remember Ghar and Akai. Meaning it is simple. The hydration of alkene was the first preparation method. Then we have reduction. Then we have reduction of aldehyde, ketone, acid, ester, all giving you the alcohol. In fact, there were 5 cases which were to be remembered. Aldehyde में formaldehyde reduces to methanol. General aldehyde reduces to a primary alcohol. Ketone gives you a secondary alcohol. Acids and ester give you primary alcohol. But ester, which is RCOOR- gives you a mixture of primary alcohol and a general alcohol. So 5-point summary for reduction you can remember. Then this G refers to Grignard reagent with the aldehyde and ketone, not with the acid ester. So when Grignard reacts with aldehyde or ketone, again 3 cases arise to form an alcohol. First, if a formaldehyde is added with Grignard, it forms a primary alcohol. If general aldehyde, secondary alcohol. And if a ketone is added to Grignard, it forms a tertiary alcohol. So that is a simple summary for the preparation method of alcohol. Hydration में HBO for the exceptional case of preparing propane 1-ol or primary alcohol. Then reduction of Akai and Grignard with aldehyde ketone. And alkyl halides wala part jo hai, that is already covered over here, that is RX to ROH. The similar reactions were repeated over here. Then we come to alcohols ka reaction. Alcohols mein reactions could be simply remembered on the basis of breaking of the bond. If the OH bond breaks, the first reaction is related with sodium, where H is displaced by Na, and this also confirms the acidic nature of alcohol, and it's a weak acid. Second reaction associated over here is esterification. When a carboxylic acid is added to alcohol, the OH of the acid and H of the alcohol removes to form the H2O, and the ester prepared over here is RCOR- and the reaction is called Fischer esterification, a named reaction. Then when the CO bond breaks down, we have the reaction as dehydration of alcohol. and this is similar to dehydrohalogenation of the alkyl halides to form the alkene. So वहाँ पे HX रिमूव होता है, यहाँ पे H and OH रिमूव होता है, ठीक है. Thirdly, there was oxidation of alcohols. Again, that was summarized as 3 cases. A primary alcohol oxidizes with K2Cr2O7 dilute H2SO4 to form aldehyde. Aldehyde further oxidizes to carboxylic acid with same number of carbon atoms. Secondary alcohol oxidizes to ketone, but ketones are difficult to oxidize further. But on vigorous oxidation, it forms a ketone. It forms a carboxylic acid, but with 1 carbon less. And thirdly, a tertiary alcohol doesn't oxidize easily because of the absence of alpha H, but on vigorous oxidation, it forms an alkene. That alkene on vigorous oxidation forms a ketone with 1 carbon less, and that ketone on vigorous oxidation gives you the acid with 2 carbons less if I start with a tertiary butyl alcohol. That's how the oxidation of alcohols could be remembered. Then we have phenols. Phenols is a very small part. Here we need to remember the preparation methods. Again, in preparation we have named reaction. Dow's process through chlorobenzene converted to phenol, and the similar conversion by Reschig's process. Third is aniline to phenol, which is like a conversion related with diazonium compounds. So aniline is diazotized to form diazonium chloride and hydrolyzed to form the phenol. Fourth, here one preparation is very important, that is from cumin, which is an industrial preparation also for the phenols. So remember to cover that preparation method, it's very important. And lastly, it was the preparation from benzene sulfonic acid. So it was a 3-step reaction. 2 of the steps are similar to Dow's process. Then phenols may reactions. Here there are 2 named reactions which are very important. The Kolbe's reaction and Riemer-Tiemann reaction. Kolbe's was conversion of phenol to salicylic acid, which is phenol with COH on the ortho position, and Riemer-Tiemann is conversion of phenol to salicyl aldehyde, which is CHO at the ortho position. So at least these 2 named reactions should be definitely covered in phenols part. And the uses, at least remember 2 of them because it might be asked as a 1-mark question. Then ethers में, it's a smaller part of the chapter again. Ethers में preparation method में one important preparation you can definitely do is Williamson synthesis, and it is one of the favorite question you can expect from ethers. When RX is treated with sodium alkoxide, it forms the ether which can be simple or mixed. Apart from that, there is continuous etherification process which is also important, but more importantly, Williamson's definitely should be done from here. And reactions में ether में 2 cases है. One is with cold HI, the other is with hot HI, and the third one is hydrolysis reaction. And lastly, a crown ether summary is there which you can just go through for the ethers part. So that covers alcohols, phenols and ethers. Third comes aldehyde, ketones and acids. Highest weightage of the organic chemistry comes from this particular chapter, and the maximum number of named reactions are from this chapter. So if you just remember the named reaction, it is kind of enough for this particular chapter to cover the weightage part. Okay. So firstly, nomenclature. So there are some complex nomenclature which could be expected from this particular chapter, meaning acid, aldehyde, ketone, alcohol together. So priority of functional group concept could be applied over here. Then preparation method of aldehyde ketones. They were categorized into different parts, and that has to be remembered like that. So just I'll give you one example. The preparation method from alkyne dehydration. So what I done was I had given you 3 simple cases. If the alkyne is acetylene, it hydrates to acetaldehyde. If it is a terminal alkyne, RC triple bond CH, it will hydrate to form a methyl ketone. If it is a non-terminal alkyne, RC triple bond C R dash, it will hydrate to form the ketone, which is like a mixed ketone. So, three cases: acetylene, terminal alkyne, non-terminal alkyne, hydration giving you corresponding product which is aldehyde or a ketone. In fact, एक ही aldehyde इसमें मिल सकता है, that is acetaldehyde. Rest two cases are ketone. So likewise, all these cases needs to be remembered as which compound on what would give you aldehyde and what compound can give you a ketone. So this is how you go about the preparation method. So in this preparation methods of aldehyde ketones, there were named reactions like Rosenmund's reaction, Stefan's reduction, which are very important. Rosenmund and Stefan's reduction should not be skipped from this part. Rosenmund's and the Stefan's reduction. Now that was for the aliphatic aldehydes or ketones favorably. For aromatic, there were special cases. One of them was Attard's oxidation, where the toluene was converted to benzaldehyde, and there was Gattermann-Koch formylation, where benzene was converted to benzaldehyde. It was a kind of substitution of H of the benzene ring by CHO. Remember the difference. Attard's में toluene is converted to benzaldehyde, the methyl is being substituted by CHO. In Gattermann-Koch formylation, the benzene is added with a CHO group to form the benzaldehyde. So that is a very important difference you should always remember in Attard's oxidation versus Gattermann-Koch formylation. Coming to reaction में there were different categories which I had done with you all. The first one was addition reactions, and these addition were again subcategorized into different types. यहाँ पे ammonia का addition reaction is very important. So if you at all want to do just few of the reaction, addition में ammonia addition and three cases were important. Next was condensation. Condensation with the ammonia derivatives give you imine derivatives. यहाँ पे DNP test is very important. कौन सा? DNP, dinitrophenylhydrazine test for the aldehyde ketones. Thirdly, we have haloform reaction. Haloform is one of the very important part which is asked from the boards directly or indirectly. So haloform test or haloform reaction shouldn't be skipped. Then in the fourth part we have aldol and Cannizzaro. Aldol and Cannizzaro. These are two named reaction. Cannizzaro may you can expect the mechanism of the aldol may you can expect the mechanism of the aldol condensation which could be asked for 3 marks. So that mechanism should be done. प्रीवियस चैप्टर्स के लिए भी कुछ मैकेनिज्म्स है, एक दो मैकेनिज्म जो आपको करके जाना चाहिए, बिकॉज मैकेनिज्म रिलेटेड वन क्वेश्चन यू कैन डेफिनेटली एक्सपेक्ट. सो aldol condensation is favorite from my side from the chapter aldehyde ketones and acids. Next, coming to acids में the initial part में nomenclature is there and there are few preparations and the reaction. At least acids में HBZ reaction, a named reaction shouldn't be skipped. This is important. Hell-Wohlhardt-Zelinsky reaction, which is a kind of alpha halogenation of the carboxylic acid, where the alpha H is substituted by the halogen with red P and bromine. So that reaction in acids is important. Rest are simple. Next, nitrogen compounds. There were three important parts in nitrogen compounds: amines, the diazonium salts or compounds, and the nitro compounds. Diazonium compounds almost gets covered in the haloarenes ka preparation method, where I have discussed about Gattermann, Sandmeyer's, Barth-Schiemann reaction. It also gets covered in phenol, where aniline was diazotized to form the phenol. So they are kind of repeated reaction. In this, only one reaction you should remember to do, that is reductive deamination, where the aniline can get converted to benzene. So just remember about that. Coming back to the nitrogen compounds, amines part. Amines is a major part of the chapter. First, you need to cover the classification with the nomenclature, that is primary amine, secondary amine, tertiary amine. Then you have preparation method of primary amide. Here two important reactions were there. Again the named reaction. One is Hoffman's ammonolysis, and other is the GPS reaction, Gabriel Thalamide synthesis. A very important named reaction which you can expect. Gabriel Thalamide synthesis, the preparation method. Then there were reduction, which was summarized as red nano. Reduction of the nitro compound, amide, nitrile and oxide could give you the amines. So, 4 cases में divide किया था. Nano refers to nitro compounds, A is amides, the third N is nitrile, that is cyanides, and O is oxides. So, summary में it is simple to remember. Coming to reactions. Reactions of amines में again there are two important reactions which are named after Hoffman only. One is Hoffman's beta elimination and other is Hoffman's carbylamine reaction. These two are very important from the reaction point of view. So at least this two reaction needs to be done, the beta elimination and carbylamine. Next, basic strength of amines is very important. MCQs or 1 mark question or explaining the basic strength of amines as 2 mark question could come from this category. You should not skip this part from the nitrogen compounds at least. Do few reactions, but this basic strength needs to be covered properly. And there were different cases which you need to explain and remember the order. Next is aniline. Aniline में again there were preparation methods for aniline and the reactions. ठीक है, reactions में one acylation reaction of aniline is important, wherein aniline if brominated because of the highly activating nature forms a tri-substituted tribromoaniline. But if I want a monobromoaniline, then aniline is first acylated and then hydrolyzed back to form the parabromoaniline. So if a question comes how aniline is converted to parabromoaniline, here this part is important. So at least that conversion is important from this part from aniline. Parabromoaniline conversion should be remembered, very important. So that is the major chunk of the organic chemistry chapters, the 4 important chapters starting from halogen to nitrogen compounds. Last 3 chapters on, though not of the higher weightage, but you should not skip these chapters because there might be a lot of questions asked in the compulsory type of questions, that is in the MCQ form or in the 1 mark question form. Rest, if it is optional part, then you can skip the questions related with the last chapter at least, because many of the students find that tough with respect to the structures and everything. So still at least few part जो करना चाहिए, I'll give you an overview. Biomolecules में carbohydrates का classification as monosaccharides, oligosaccharides, polysaccharides. Glucose का all the preparation and reactions, all meaning 2 ही preparation है, and there were 5 reactions associated with glucose which are very simple. Go through करोगे, it is simple to understand and remember also. Then structure could be asked from this carbohydrate section, and mainly there were many structures, but I would suggest to do at least glucose, cyclic structure, the N-omers, fructose and sucrose. These 2 are monosaccharides and this will be disaccharide structure. Then proteins में alpha amino acids. Alpha amino acids के structure कई बार पूछे जाते हैं. There are few of them which I have given you as important alpha amino acids which should be done with respect to the side chain alkyl group. So what changes in the alpha amino acid is only the side chain R. Then the classification of proteins. There were 2 classification, one based on structure, other based on shape. Structure के basis पे there are levels of proteins, primary, secondary, tertiary and quaternary. Shape के basis पे we have globular versus fibrous with examples needs to be remembered. That covers the proteins part. Vitamins is more of factual. You need to remember the names of the vitamins, the sources and mainly the deficiencies. If not sources, at least deficiencies of vitamins shouldn't be skipped. विटामिन के नाम और उसका डेफिशिएंसी की वजह से क्या क्या डिजीज हो सकते हैं वो पूछा जाता है। एंड वाटर सोल्यूबल एंड फैट सोल्यूबल विटामिन कौन से होते हैं, दैट नीड्स टू बी रिमेंबर्ड। न्यूक्लिक एसिड्स में डीएनए एंड आरएनए, द डिफरेंस ऑफ द न्यूक्लियोसाइड वर्सेस न्यूक्लियोटाइड एंड द स्ट्रक्चर कुड बी आस्क्ड। So mainly you should prepare the DNA structure with the concept of nucleoside or nucleotide. In fact, 3 पार्ट से बना होता है, base, sugar and phosphate, BSP as I say. Next, polymers में it's all about the reactions and the monomer converted to the polymer. कौन से polymer के लिए कौन सा monomer होता है, all those things are to be remembered. So polymers में what I suggest would be do the classification based on the structure, the first classification. HDPE, LDPE is very important. Mainly LDPE में the mechanism could be asked. PAN or Orlon, my favorite. Polyacrylonitrile or Orlon. This is very important, though it is very simple. Vinyl cyanide converted to polyvinyl cyanide, which is named as polyacrylonitrile. But because of the name, it is important. And इसी के साथ we have PTFE, which is polytetrafluoroethene, also which can be done. Then in the cross-linked polymers, we have 3 examples: bakelite, urea formaldehyde, and melamine formaldehyde. I would suggest at least do bakelite from there. Cross-linked polymer section. Then we have condensation polymers में nylon 66 and Dacron, which is also called Teflon. Dacron या Teflon. And towards the end, non-biodegradable polymers में we have PHBV, very important. 3 है इसमें भी, लेकिन this PHBV is very important. Polyhydroxybutyrate co-beta hydroxyvalerate. This polymerization reaction of PHBV is very important. So at least do these many reactions from polymers, which I feel is important for this particular year. Chem in everyday life, डरावना chapter, लेकिन at least the bare minimum what you should do is all the definition of the drugs with example. जैसे analgesics में narcotic, non-narcotic with their examples. Then we have tranquilizers, anti-fertility drugs, antihistamines, antacids, antimicrobials के अंदर antiseptic, disinfectants, ठीक है? So all the definition, just go through it. It is simple to understand with examples. Then structures बहुत बार पूछे हुए हैं. वैसे इस chapter में there are hell lot of structures. I would suggest to do the structures of aspirin, macrobamate, the tranquilizer, penicillin, novestrol, norethindrone, these 2 are anti-fertility drugs, ranitidine, the antihistamine, saccharin, the sweetener, artificial, BHT and BHA, very important, antioxidant. Structure of butylated hydroxytoluene and butylated hydroxyanisole. And last part में anionic और cationic detergents की classification है. अनायोनिक में सल्फेट्स इंपॉर्टेंट है, कटायोनिक में अमोनियम इंपॉर्टेंट है. तो जस्ट उसका 1-liner डेफिनेशन और एग्जांपल याद रख लो. इन केस इफ इट इज आस्क्ड यू कैन एटलीस्ट राइट समथिंग फॉर द डिटर्जेंट्स पार्ट. सो दैट कवर्स द ऑर्गेनिक केमिस्ट्री. थैंक यू एंड ऑल द बेस्ट.